Hello, rules time. Number 1. Any Pokemon that faints must be permaboxed. Number 2. I can only catch the first wild Pokemon encountered in each area. Number 3. No items during battles. Number 4. No overleveling. And number 5. I have to set the battle mode to set. And additional rule for starters. Number 1. If the last digit of my trainer ID number is 1 to 3, I have to use the grass type starter. 4 to 6, the fire type. 7 to 9, water type. And 0, I can get a free choice. Big shout out to the ones who left a comment on how to fix the speed up lag for the DS emulator. You know who you are. Playing this run felt so much nicer. Just a quick heads up, I do catch a lot more Pokemon on this run than what will be shown in the video, but I'll only include the catches of the Pokemon that I'll use in my main team, for brevity's sake. Choosing my name wasn't too hard in this run either. I went with A again. As you can guess by the title, the RNG gods have blessed me with my favorite starter from Gen 2, a Cyndaquil. I clicked the ball with my mouse pointer and snatched myself a flame porcupine. He's going to be known as Porco, the Cyndaquil. Shortly after, we made our way to Cherry Grove, where a fit old man greeted us and showed us around town. He also made sure that we eat dirt whenever we have to follow him. After getting praised by Mr. Pokemon and Professor Oak for no apparent reason, we headed back to Newbark Town, but not before getting challenged by the redhead rival. Porco took charge and tackled his Totodile into submission. We then swiped his trainer card with our master pickpocket skill. I thought about naming the rival my ass again, but decided 2 videos in a row would be a bit too much. I'm also running out of my ass jokes. Our mom decided that she doesn't trust us with financial planning, so she decided she'd keep some of our money. She's not wrong though. A will end up with a big gambling problem later. In any case, the run is officially on. Our first encounter was a Sentret, who we were able to catch and name Pharaoh. He was only used for less than an hour, but welcome to the team. The second addition to the gang was a Pidgey, caught north of Cherry Grove, who we'll call Burbo. Over at Violet City, I generated the secret phrase for Mr. Primo, and got myself a Mareep egg. The egg would hatch after a painful session of walking. This took longer than I thought it would. We'll call this one Sheepo. I popped by Dark Cave real quick and encountered a Geodude. We successfully caught it and named it Boldo. After blazing through the Sprout Tower test with ease, we can finally face our first gym. Sheepo took out the Pidgey first with a Thunder Shock, then Faulkner sent out his Pidgeotto. Sheepo was slower than the bird, so she had to tank 2 tackles before being able to knock down the Pidgeotto. Sheepo was able to survive with 14 HP. It was a bit of a risky play since I wasn't playing around a critical hit, but I suppose all went well. We got the badge to venture on, after getting stopped by a kimono girl, of course. A short bit later, Porco evolved into a Quilava, and Sheepo evolved into a Flaffy. On Route 33, we caught a Magikarp with the old rod, and we named it Oridrago. While trying to help Kurt in the Slowpoke well, a Zubat was forcefully caught and submitted into the team. She was named Bato. Then it was time for the Bug Gym, led by Bugsy. He sent his Scyther out first, so I threw Porco onto the arena. The Scyther attacked first with a quick attack and took a good chunk of health out of Porco. It was a bit worrisome, but Bugsy proceeded with some low IQ buff and debuff moves, while Porco burnt the Scyther to a crisp. The rest of his Pokemon proved to be of no challenge at all. The second badge was safely in our pockets. Before being able to leave Azalea, we were stopped by rival Silver. I led with Sheepo, who was able to sweep through his team with Thundershocks. Being able to know his team beforehand from Bulbapedia is most definitely a driving factor for victories in this run, and with every run. I leveled Boldo to level 20, and then we can challenge Whitney for the third gym. Whitney had virtually no counter for Boldo, and her Clefairy was taken down with such ease. When it was time for the Miltank, it took a bit longer than I thought. Boldo kept rolling low magnitude rolls while tanking stomps in the face, repeatedly. I got sort of nervous and was getting ready to switch Boldo out, but she eventually shook the cow to death. This run is going strong with no casualties so far. Using the Voltorb Flip Solver website thing and some remaining brain power, I grinded through many games of Voltorb Flip to grind at some coins. With the coins, I got the TMs for Flamethrower and Thunderbolt for Porco and Sheepo. Above Goldenrod, we caught Bunno, the Nidoran. He would evolve into a Nidorino shortly after. After a grinding session for Oridrago that was pure pain, she would finally evolve into a Gyarados. Over at the Burnt Tower, the rival challenged us to another battle after we met Eugene. I opened with Sheepo again for his Ghastly. Sheepo took out the ghost Pokemon with a Thunderbolt after being cursed, and managed to take out the Croconaw as well after a bit of a fight. Being close to death, I switched to Porco to finish off the Zubat and Magnemite with flamethrowers. What's up, Suicune? Boldo evolved into a Graveler before the Morty fight. And here comes the Morty fight. Oridrago was up first purely because of Bite. She bit the Ghastly first and it went down in one hit. Next was Morty's Gengar, and it was able to outspeed Oridrago and hit it with a Shadow Ball. Oridrago's special defense was lowered and she hit back with a bite that almost took it out. It couldn't though. It also healed with a berry. The lowered special defense puts Oridrago at risk, so I switched to Porco in hopes that he can tank some damage. He couldn't. Weighing my options, I had to sack one Pokemon in order for Oridrago to come back out on a fresh stat reset. So I chose Burbo. Burbo went out and hit a gust before being put to sleep. He would then get sucker punched to death. Rest well, Burbo. Oridrago came back out on a fresh stat reset, tank a Shadow Ball, and successfully put down Morty's Gengar. His two Haunters that came next was slower than Oridrago, so she was able to make quick work of the ghost Pokemon. This fight was probably the toughest so far. In hindsight, I'm sure I could have prepared for this battle more, but what's done is done. I had to remind myself not to get too hasty going into battles just because the first 3 gyms were a breeze. I went back to Goldenrod and talked to Bill, where he gave me an Eevee. I named it Boy out of respect for my previous Eevees. After, I spent more time than I would have liked at the Pokéathlon Dome. This was also pure pain, all for the sake of the Moonstone, which I eventually got. To replace Burbo, I grinded levels for Batto. She finally evolved into a Golbat. Following Batto, Sheepo also evolved. She attained her final form, Ampharos. The next 3 gyms in Johto are left non-linear, so I had to challenge them in order of the lowest level first. I made my way to Cianwood first to challenge the gym, but before that, Eugene challenged me to a fight to prove himself to Suicune. He let a Drowsy, so I sent Oridrago to bite it. It went down in one hit, and I switched to Boldo. Boldo generated 2 magnitudes while tanking a lot of damage, but the inverted Pokeball finally went down. Last Pokemon for Eugene was a Haunter, so naturally I switched back for Oridrago. One bite and it was done. Now it was time to face Chuck for real. This fight was even easier than Faulkner. I sent in Battle for his Primate, which got taken out in one hit with a Wing Attack. His Poliwhirl came out next, and the strategy was the same. Wing Attack couldn't take it out in one go, but he missed his Hypnosis. The next one took it out, a perfect sweep from Battle. After deciding to evolve Boy into a Vaporeon, I spent yet another considerable chunk of time at the Pokéathlon Dome to get the Water Stone. Pure pain. Nevertheless, Boy evolved into a Vaporeon. I killed the red Gyarados. It looked at me funny. Next gym challenge had to be Price at Mahogany, where he caps his Pokemon at level 34. But before we can challenge the Ice Gym, we had to run Team Rocket out of the shady souvenir shop first with Lance. There were no notable battles, but we had to beat a Giovanni clone, meet a friendly Murkrow, and beat a busty Redhead. All the while Lance was flexing his Dragonite. Get the hell out of here with your Dragonites, Lance. Pseudo-legendaries are banned in this run. Price time. He sent out his Seal first, so Sheepo took the lead. It got taken out in one hit with a Thunderbolt. His Pillow-Swine was up next, so I switched to Porco on a Mud Bomb turn. It was a risky move, honestly, but Porco survived. He would then incinerate the Pillow-Swine into some crispy bacon with a flamethrower. The Dugong was scheduled next, so Sheepo came back out and took it out with a Thunderbolt. Wasn't too difficult at all. And so was the next gym, Jasmine. Porco demonstrated a total sweep with 3 flamethrowers. We would then celebrate the victory with an evolution. Porco is now a full-fledged adult. I went back to the game corner and played more Voltorb flips to get the Ice Beam TM for Boy and Thunderbolt for Bunno. And before the Radio Tower fiasco, Battle evolved into a Crobat. Foe Giovanni at the Radio Tower challenged us to a fight with a team full of Coughings. Porco set them all on fire. Boldo would then evolve into an even larger rock. He's now a Golem. At the underground tunnel, we have another rival battle amidst his existential crisis. He led with a Golbat, so I led Sheepo. Surprisingly, Sheepo outsped the Golbat, so she took it down in one hit with a Thunderbolt. And so did the Feraligatr. He was taken down in one hit also. And the Sneasel that came after, despite getting a feint attack in first. Porco was switched in next and took care of the Magnemite and Haunter with a flamethrower. Not much to say in this battle. We then had to clean up Team Rocket, where Boy did all the work. He wiped Proton, Ariana, and Archer with ease. And then we got faked out by the director. Well played, sir. Off you go, Kimono Lady. And now it was time for Claire, the spats-wearing Dragon-type gym leader. This fight was Stressful. I'll tell you why. She opened with a Gyarados, so naturally I let Sheepo. Sheepo got hit with a Dragon Rage, but then she would take out the Gyarados with a Thunderbolt. Simple enough. Claire would then send out her first Dragonair, so I switched to Boy. He got paralyzed on the switch in, but no biggie. He tanked a Dragon Pulse with his massive health pool, but Boy was left paralyzed while attempting the first Ice Beam. He was hit by another Dragon Pulse, but managed to fire off an Ice Beam. First Dragonair down. The second Dragonair also went down to an Ice Beam in one turn. Then came the Kingdra. I wanted a fresh turn for Sheepo, so I prepared 2 cannon fodders. I switched for Venus Trap with the Bellsprout I caught at the Sprout Tower, and he went down real quick. Then I sent in Sheepo. Sheepo got hit by a massive Hydro Pump, but she survived. She manages to fire off a Thunderbolt to take down the Kingdra's health to orange. The Kingdra then healed with the Health Berry. I had to switch, so I sent in another cannon fodder I prepared. Bolagasso the Coughing made his debut and died right there. The Kingdra had no ice moves, so I sent in Batto. Both the Kingdra and Batto missed their moves on the first turn. Batto managed to hit a Fly during the second turn, but it wasn't enough. She got hit by a Hydro Pump in return, taking his health down to orange. I was quite torn on what to do here, as Claire healed the Kingdra, but I decided to stick with Batto. If I had to sack Batto, I still had a backup. I hoped the Kingdra would get poisoned with a Poison Fang, but no dice. It didn't take out too much health either. So, thinking this would be Batto's last move, I went for a Fly. Batto took down Kingdra's health down to red, and this was it. Claire called for a Hyper Beam. I literally shouted when this happened, and rather shakily called for Batto to close the fight with a wing attack. I was prepared to lose the 2 cannon fodders, but I wasn't really prepared to lose Batto here. But she pulled through. She did. As a result of the battle, heaven sure is filling up here. Claire sent us to the Dragon's Den, where we had to pitch our product design and marketing pitch to 3 millionaires in 3 minutes, and we got the cash. Claire was left in disbelief as she couldn't get the funding she wanted. With this, we got all the badges we need for the Pokemon League, but not before we tangled with the Kimono Girls. The Kimono Girls fiasco was troublesome, to say the most. Sheepo took care of the first 3 evolution, and Boldo and Batto took care of the last 2. We were then invited to the top of the bell tower. Here, we caught the recurring Ghosto, the Ghastly. After some dances and cutscenes, the mighty Ho-Oh landed for someone worthy. As we proved our worth with a Master Ball, I gave the legendary bird the most fitting nickname. Bunno evolved into a Nidoking on the way to the Victory Road, and so did Ghosto into a Gengar. I went back to the game corner for another Voltorb Pain session, and bagged myself 3 TMs. Thunderbolt for Ghosto, and Ice Beam and Flamethrower for Bunno, just in case. To power up Bunno's attacks and special attacks, I wanted to get a Life Orb. So I took Ho-Oh to the Ruins of Alph, and solved the puzzle. This took a lot of time, and I quickly realized that I didn't even need to do this stupid puzzle to get the Life Orb. I just needed to examine the panel at the back with the Ho-Oh. This was all your fault, Ho-Oh. Time for the final rival fight before the Elite Four. He sent out his Sneasel first, so I let Porco. Porco took it down in one hit with a Flamethrower, and next up was his Feraligatr. I switched to Sheepo, who took a Slash hit. In the next turn, the Feraligatr outsped Sheepo, and to my surprise, almost killed it. I'm not going to lie, I thought Sheepo was done right there. But she survived like a true champ and took out the Water Gator with a Thunderbolt. His Golbat was up next, so I called upon Bunno, who was powered up with the Life Orb. He took out the Golbat with a Thunderbolt, the Kadabra with Earth Power, Haunter with Thunderbolt, and finally the Magneton with another Earth Power. The trip with my asshole was definitely worth it. Not so much the puzzle, but I digress. After some grinding, the team for the Elite Four was finally complete. First up was Boldo the Golem, second was Bunno the Nidoking, next was Batto the Crobat, Boy the Vaporeon, Ghosto the Gengar, reppin' one more time, and finally Porco the Typhlosion. I guess to make the rules clear one more time, all Pokemon here are kept on the level cap of 47, with their experience edged out. They would later gain levels as the Elite Four challenge goes on, with all of them having a guaranteed level up the first time they are switched in for battle. So first up was Will, the Psychic Elite Four. I really can't say much here in terms of strategic commentary, as it was just Ghosto sweeping Will's team. Ghosto overpowered the Psychic team with Shadow Balls until the end. Next up was Koga and his team of Poison and Bug types. He sent out Ariados first, so I opted for Porco, the natural counter. Porco outsped the Spider and took it down with one hit. Koga sent in his Fortress next, and it was dealt with in a similar manner. Koga chose his Muck for his next Pokemon, and this is where Boldo comes in. The muck used the minimize, but to no avail, as Boldo hit his earthquake and took it out in one go. I switched in Porco for Koga's Venomoth, where Porco tanked a psychic hit. Porco breathed more fire and downed the moth in one fell swoop. Last was Koga's Crobat, to which I called upon Boldo's services once more. Here, Boldo hit a 4-hit Rock Blast, taking the Crobat down in one turn. Good job, Boldo. We were to challenge Bruno next, and it was a slightly tougher experience than the first two. He chose his Hitmontop first, where I threw Batto to battle first. Batto flew high up and took down the Spitting Top Pokemon in one hit. Next, he would choose his Onix, so I opted for Boldo again. The Onix set up a Sandstorm in the switch-in, and Boldo managed to hit the Earthquake first because of the Quick Claw. 3 to go. Hitmonlee was thrown out next, and I switched back to Batto. Batto outsped the kicking Pokemon and took it out with Fly. She did the same thing when the Hitmonchan came out. Last was Bruno's Machamp, where I had a mini heart attack. While Batto was up in the sky with Fly, the Machamp pulled off a Rock Slide which took Batto's health down to orange. Thankfully, Batto managed to take it out with one Fly. Now, Karen. I was most nervous for this fight because she proved to be a pretty good run stopper if not handled correctly, and I wasn't sure if my strategy would work that well against her. In any case, we began the battle and she sent out her Umbreon. I led with Batto, opening with a Fly while Umbreon sets up a double team. The Fly hits and takes down the Evolution's health to orange. The next turn, I opted for a U-turn, which was able to hit and take out the Umbreon, enabling me to switch to Boy safely on a fresh turn. I had no idea what Karen would send next, but luckily it was her Vileplume. Boy fired off an Ice Beam, down goes the Smelly Plant in one hit. Came the Gengar next, and I switched for Ghosto for the Gengar on Gengar fight. Karen tried to use Spite, but it failed. Naturally, my Ghosto was faster, so her Gengar went down with one Shadow Ball. All was going well so far. I switched back to Boy for the Murkrow, as the bird failed a Sucker Punch on the switch-in. Boy outsped the Murkrow and took it out of the sky with an Ice Beam. And last was her Houndoom. It was faster, but she wasted the first turn setting up a nasty plot. Boy surfed down the Hound in the same turn, drowning it completely. Now all of the Elite Four is down and over with, leaving us only Lance and his 3 Dragonites between us and our victory. After a bit of talk, Lance led with his Gyarados, and I Ghosto. Ghosto outsped the Gyarados and downed it with a Thunderbolt. The same thing happened with his Aerodactyl, which came out just for show. His Charizard, however, came to fight. Ghosto hit first with another Thunderbolt, and it survived. The Flame Lizard hit back with a surprise Shadow Claw, but thankfully Ghosto survived. Ghosto fired off another 2 attacks, finishing off the Charizard after a heal. Finally, it was time for the 3 Dragonites. He sent out his strongest one first, and I stayed with Ghosto. I tried to use Destiny Bond, but I kind of forgot how it worked, and I wasted a turn. At this point, I was prepared to sack Ghosto, but not before a final Thunderbolt. Down goes Ghosto after his impeccable service. Next, I sent out Boldo to deal as much damage as he can before he kicks the bucket. I was hoping Boldo could take out one Dragonite first before kicking the bucket, to which he did. I tried to use Explosion on the next one, but he was much too slow and got frozen to death. Out went Boy, my showstopper, my secret weapon with a never melt ice. The Dragonite tried to use a Dragon Rush, but it missed. I rejoiced as Boy one-shotted the Dragonite with an Ice Beam. The final Dragonite came out and used a Thunder Wave, but it was all for naught, as Boy still managed to kill it with another Slushy Beam. Lance was done, and we became the champion to complete the Nuzlocke. Honestly, I went into this run thinking it was going to take me a lot more than one try to complete. I guess with enough preparation and the fact that I've played this game multiple times before helped me prepare for it better than I thought. For my next Nuzlocke, I want to try my hands at the Gen 5 games. But before that, I also want to retcon my Platinum Nuzlocke, since technically it's void because I broke one of the Duke and Species claws during that run. So I might delete that video and post Platinum Hardcore Nuzlocke 2.0 or something. In any case, if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing and hitting the bell. I'll be putting out more contents like this. Also, follow my Twitch. I haven't started streaming yet, but I will in the near future. Hopefully I'll see you guys there. Thank you for watching.